Hello everybody and welcome to Nordnet, and more specifically welcome to our Capital Markets Day. Hope you are as excited as we are about this event. We have a full day ahead of us with a lot of talented people from Nordnet that will take you through most aspects of our business. Again, much welcome. Here we go.
Nordnet was born in 1996 from an idea as simple as it was revolutionary: to take trading out of bricks and mortar branches and offer it online, giving ordinary people the power to grow their savings on their own terms. Customers loved it. The traditional banks hated it. Through the years, we grew outside Sweden to help customers save better in Denmark, Norway, and Finland as well, living up to our name as a digital platform for all the Nordic countries. We added derivatives, international markets, and built a fund supermarket. We launched a modern private banking offering, digital advisory services, and were the first bank in the Nordics to take trading from desktop to mobile. We paved the way for flexibility and cost efficiency within pension savings and created the unique investment community Shareville. The list goes on. All accessed on our constantly evolving platform, where usability and simplicity is at the core. We're always transparent. No hidden fees or complexities in the fine print. But first and foremost, everything we do to drive better returns for our customers. We're as passionate about them as we are about our company, or savings in general. Because what is good for customers is good for us. We continue to challenge structures and enable growth by building the best platform for savings and investments. Our founding principle of democratizing savings and investments drives us to this day. And if there's one thing we've learned, it's this: becoming rich is not a goal in itself. It's about independence, security, realizing your dreams, and taking control of your financial future.
Welcome back. My name is Johan Tidestad. I'm the Chief Communications Officer at Nordnet, and I will try to guide you through this day in the best possible way. As you might know, Nordnet has been listed this time around since November 2020, and this is actually our very first Capital Markets Day. We are very much looking forward to this event, and we're happy to see that so many of you have signed up to join us this day. The corona restrictions in Sweden have just been lifted 2 days ago, but we decided a couple of weeks ago to make this event digital only, so we stick to that plan. But no worries, you will be able to interact with us and asking questions, of course. I'll come back to that later. We will have a lot of speakers here on the stage today, and the purpose of this day is, of course, to go through and present Nordnet to you in such a way that you feel that you know everything about this company. We'll go through our strategy and make certain deep dives. We'll also talk about our updated financial targets, and I guess that most of you have seen that we sent out a press release this morning with our updated midterm financial targets. And as you can see to the right on this slide, we have a really nice bunch of people here today that will talk to us during the 4 hours we have together, and that brings us to the agenda. Lars-Åke will first make a short introduction of Nordnet to make sure that everybody is on the same page for the rest of the day. After that, we'll go into our 2025 strategy, and then we'll cover things like our different channels, tech strategy, people, ESG, and compliance. That is the first block, and after that, we'll have a Q&A session, and I will come back to how that works in practice. Then we'll go into our 4 different markets and cover topics like addressable market, Nordnet's market share, financial numbers, and plans for 2022. And we end that point on the agenda with a Q&A session, and then it's time for a 30-minute lunch break. When we meet again, it's time for the growth part of the agenda. We look into our different opportunities in securities brokerage, mutual funds, pension, and lending. And you will get to meet the respective managers of these business areas. Q&A session, of course, and then Lars-Åke and our CFO Lennart will tell you everything you want to know about our operating leverage and capital situation. Lastly, Lars-Åke will sum up what you've heard today, and we'll open up for a final Q&A for the day. And regarding questions to our speakers, we do it like this. As you see on the agenda, we'll stop for a Q&A session after each block. And if you want to ask a question, you just press the Q button on your screen, send in your question in writing, and I will pick it up and forward it to the speakers on the stage. You can be anonymous if you like, but of course it's nice if you write your name there as well. And remember that you can send in your questions anytime. Okay then, let's do this, and please let us welcome the first speaker up on the stage, our captain of the ship, CEO Lars-Åke Norling. No people here today, Lars-Åke, no applause. I'm sorry about that.
But
how does it feel to stand here on our very first Capital Markets Day?
Yeah, it feels great.
Why is it important, according to you, that we do an event like this?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than a year now since we had the IPO. We decided to update also the financial targets. We want to share the new strategy and also do some deep dives, not least in the growth agenda for Nordnet.
Okay then. Introduction to Nordnet and 2025 strategy. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you. So we're going to start with an introduction to Nordnet for participants not that familiar with the company. And in Nordnet, we've had a clear purpose since the company was founded in 1996. And we exist to democratize savings and investments. And through innovation, we challenge traditional structures like the big banks and pension companies. And we give the private investors the tools, the information, and the products they need to succeed. We currently have around 760 billion SEK in savings capital on the platform, around 1.6 million customers across our Nordic footprint, and also very high activity level in general on the platform with around 70 million trades on the platform in 2021. And we are the number one digital platform for savings and investments in the Nordics. We are the number one domestic broker on the Nordic exchanges in 2021. You can see that in the graph to the right. We also have an overall number one position when it comes to customer satisfaction. We measure that through NPS, with a clear number one in Denmark, Finland, and Norway, and a strong number two in Sweden. And we also have overall, compared to other cross-Nordic platforms, we have number one market share of addressable market. And our aspiration is to be the number one choice for Nordic savers and investors. And we want to achieve this by having a really state-of-the-art platform for all their savings and investment needs, and also a really good customer experience, of course, the most satisfied customers. And we're striving for be what we call a one-stop shop for savings and investments. So you as a private investor should be able to find all the products and tools that you need on the platform for your savings. And our brand promise is building the best platform for savings and investments. And this is our main focus. This is what we do every day. And we will, of course, never be done. We every day will be building on our platform. And it's everything from launching new features in our app and our web, launching new financial products, exciting financial products, automating the customer journeys, and also secure that we have tools for the customers to make informed decisions on their investments. But you as a customer, if you are on our platform, you should be able to have higher returns over time by using the products we have and provide. And we really believe in focus to succeed. Of course, our main focus is savings and investments. We do have some complementary lending products, but the core is savings and investments. And we will not go into full service banking in any shape or form. And the main target group is a private investor. We have some smaller companies as well, but the majority of our customers is the private investors. Focus is also on the Nordic region, the 4 big Nordic countries. We have around 6% market share of the addressable market today, so we have ample room to grow for many years. And of course, we highly believe in digital distribution. We're fully digital today, and we will remain also fully digital going forward. And I'm going to talk a little bit now about our main segments and our offerings. Starting to the left, you see our main customer segments, where at the bottom is a trader segment. That's a smaller segment, but the segment with the highest demand. They want a platform with 100% uptime, and they want to have the right tools on the platform, and they basically trade for a living. Then we have the investor segment, which is by far the largest segment when it comes to revenue. And investors, they are very interested in the market in general, follows the market, invest in shares and funds, but they don't day trade. And they also want a lot of information and also guidance. And this segment overall, we want to, of course, strengthen over time. And then we have the saver segment. That's the largest segment when it comes to number of customers, but not in revenue. And savers, they're not necessarily very interested in the market. They're saving mainly for a rainy day, saving for the future, and it's mainly savings in funds on a monthly basis. And the important part here is to have a really easy experience. It should be really simple to select funds and set up a monthly saving. And this segment we want to grow in by this big focus we also have on funds now. And we're going to talk more about that later in the presentation. Then we have the customer offerings in the other dimension, where we have the traditional retail offering. Then we have the private banking offering. So if you have more than 2.5 million SEK on our platform, you get special offers. For example, you get a very attractive rate on your mortgage. So if you have 15 million SEK or more, you actually get the lowest market rate in Sweden today of 65 bips. And then we have the partner offering also, that partners can also connect our platform, and especially then wealth managers. And that means that you as a customer can also decide that some of your accounts you want to have discretionary management via a partner, whilst you manage the other accounts on your own. And again, we really want to be this one-stop shop for savings and investments. And for us, that's a key differentiator. So you, as a private investor, you should be able to find all the products that you need on a platform for your savings. And of course, with a great customer experience, but also, of course, attractive pricing. And it's everything then from secured brokerage, where you as a customer can trade on a large number of instruments on a large number of markets. We have the broadest fund platform with over 2,000 funds today. We have pension products in Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, and we're going to also expand that to Finland. You as a customer can also borrow on your portfolio with margin lending, very popular product in all countries. And then retail lending, we only so far have in Sweden. That's a portfolio of unsecured loans, but mainly it's a mortgage offering to our private banking segment. And the mortgage offering we also look at expanding here in the coming years. We're going to talk more about that. And then we have the social investment platform Shareville, which is a true USP for us. And Rasmus later will talk a lot about Shareville and our plans for Shareville going forward. A little bit about the Nordnet history. So we have been a company since 1996, started in Sweden with online brokerage. Then in 2001 we was listed for the first time. Then we also expanded Nordnet from Sweden to Norway, Denmark, and Finland. We also expanded the product offering. Then in 2017, the company was taken private by Öhman, the founder family or company, and Nordic Capital. And the reason for this was that there was a need to do a major transformation of the business, and especially a modernization of the digital platform. And we launched a new app during that time. We launched a new web and also modernized the backend systems. And this enabled far better user experience, a lot better than we had before, but also better scalability. And this job was done in summer of 2020, and then the owners also decided to relist the company, and we relisted in November 2020. And now the main focus is to capture this fantastic growth potential we have in the Nordics. We have 6% market share today, so fantastic growth potential for many years. And this all is going to be enabled also by the Nordnet 2025 strategy that we're going to talk more about later. And we're also going to have a special session just focusing on growth. Some highlights since IPO. November 2020 was the IPO, and the numbers here you see is 21 versus 2020. And we have added 380,000 customers in 1 year, added 240 billion in savings capital, 80 billion in net savings, big numbers. Also very high activity on the platform overall, 72 million trades. We launched a number of products like own pension account in Norway, digitized mortgage in Sweden, savings account in Denmark, and also fully digitized pension journey in Sweden as well. Also focused a lot on funds. We also applied to set up our own fund company. 99.9% uptime on the platform in spite of a number of trading records during 2021, and all-time high NPS in the customer base. And we also launched a large number of features in our app and web. And just as an example, we launch a new version of the app every 5 days. So every day, almost the customers get new stuff, either on the web or on the app. And this is boiled down to fantastic, of course, financials. We increased the revenue with 35% and operating profit with almost 60%. And we see an accelerating growth both in customers and on savings capital, as you can see on this slide. And the reasons for this is a few. One is that we every day improve customer experience, but by our focus on building the best platform savings investments. So every day we try to do and improve our platform. The other part is that we have now critical mass when it comes to customers in all of our countries. So that means that we also can enable a very efficient word of mouth growth where customers recommend our platform to each other. But to do that, you need to, of course, have enough customers. We also, as you know, have rigorous focus on cost discipline to drive our operating leverage. So in spite of a very strong revenue growth the last years, we've managed to keep the cost flat in absolute terms for now 4 years. So it's a truly scalable business model that we have. And if you look at the cost margin, that's been going from 38 bips down to 17 bips with a downward trajectory. And the key drivers for us for operating leverage, of course, the scalable tech platform we have. Elias will talk more about that later. That we can onboard a lot of new customers without driving costs. The other part is process simplification automation, which we was going to talk more about. But this is a core area for us, and it's a win-win. It's a win for the customer because if you do this, it works better for the customer. It's also a win for us because we save costs. So one example is this digitized mortgage journey that we launched last year in Sweden that allows you as a customer to get the mortgage within the same day if you want, but at the same time we save a lot of money. Then we have this also very efficient word of mouth customer growth, so we'll have low customer acquisition cost and also versus high lifetime value on the platform, it's a very profitable customer growth. I'm going to talk more about that later. And of course then we put a lot of focus to manage our third party spend. And all in all, this boils down to strong financials. We see the revenue increasing with average 40% per year, driven from increasing customers, savings capital, of course, and activity on the platform. But you also see that then the cost is flat for the last 4 years, so the entire revenue increase basically end up on the bottom line. So we are a tech company with a truly profitable growth. Also, as you saw with the press release, we've decided to revise the medium-term financial targets, starting with the customer growth. So in light of very strong customer growth the last 3 years, we decided to increase the guidance from 10 to 15% growth per year on customer base to 15% per year. Average savings capital per customer, since we have also very strong net savings going from 410,000 SEK per customer to 450,000 SEK per customer. Also income in relation to savings capital, since we see now very strong growth in all our revenue streams, both funds, brokerage and lending. We increased that from 40 bips to 45 bips. And the cost side, we guide now on the mid-single digit growth in the coming years, partly from inflation, but mostly that we onboard more tech resources to be able to faster deliver on our exciting roadmap. Whilst the dividend payout ratio remains the same, 70% of the net profit. So in summary, we are the leading digital platform for savings and investments in the Nordics. We have a strong position in all big Nordic countries, and we have a very liked and trusted brand. And we're also very proud of our passionate and talented people. I think that's also a true differentiator for Nordnet. And this is across the organization, but not least then also in product and tech. We have very strong growth, as you've seen, both in customers, savings capital and revenue. But in spite of this, we have only so far 6% market share of the addressable market, so great growth potential. Really scalable business model, as you saw as well, and we also capital light, so we don't tie up a lot of capital when we grow, then allowing for good dividends per year. We're going to cover that in more detail also later. So that was a short introduction to Nordnet. Then we move to the next session, which is partly new for you here, and that's the Nordnet 2025 strategy. This is the first time we present this, and we're going to talk about our strategic ambitions, but then focus a lot on how we will achieve those. So there's a lot of focus on the how here. Again, aspiration, number one choice for Nordic savers and investors. We want to be this best one-stop shop with a fantastic customer experience, but also then attractive pricing overall. And our key strategic ambitions, starting with engaged customers. It all starts with the customers, of course. Is then continue building the best platform for savings and investments with the new features on app web, new products, automated journeys. And then we want to strengthen our NPS, customer satisfaction position, so strengthen the number one position we have in Norway, Denmark, and Finland, and close the gap to Avanza in Sweden, where we're currently number 2. And of course, this should enable that we continue to have high customer retention and low churn. But we also know we would never have happy customers unless we have really passionate and talented employees. So it's also a big focus area for us to continue to have an upward trend on satisfaction with employees. We measure that also via NPS. And also secure that we can attract and retain top talent, because it's really a war for top talent out there today. Then it's a sustainable business. We are in the trust business. We need to earn that trust every day. And we especially need to manage the risks we have in a good way, both compliance risks and other risks. And of course, we need to be seen as a bank and a savings platform as a really trusted and liked brand. Trust is a key component here. Then lastly, profitable growth, that we now capture this fantastic growth potential we have in the Nordics, 6% market share, like I talked about, many years to grow. But also that we secure that we continue to have a scalable business model that we've shown in the last 4 years. And this is, of course, going to be enabled by the tech platform we have that we now step-by-step move to the cloud, but also this that we automate all of our customer journeys. So how will we then reach those ambitions? What capabilities are needed? And that's everything then from delightful digital channels to have the best app and web basically out there, to be this one-stop shop for savings investments, true differentiator for Nordnet. That we have this full process automation. We're going to automate everything that's possible to automate. And we also know we have a lot of data in the organization, but we need to use that data to when we make decisions, but also use that data to make a better personalized experience for our customers. Then it's a scalable cloud-powered platform. So the platform we have now, piece by piece, we move that to the cloud. Elias will talk about that. But that really ensures scalability. Of course, that we have a best-in-class people and also a really efficient operating model, where we're also going to touch briefly on. But this is all then predicated also on the ESG part. ESG is becoming more and more important, not least in the savings business where trust is key. So we have ESG embedded in our DNA via our purpose to democratize savings investments, but we do a lot of other things in this area as well, and Johan will talk more about that. But then we specifically lifted out strong compliance and risk management. That's, of course, a vital and key part of the G part in ESG, in the governance part. So I think that was a short introduction to the strategy from my side. So I hand over to you, Johan.
Thank you for that, Lars-Åke, for the time being, and we'll save the questions for later, so you will come back.
Yes.
So now it's time for the next person on stage, and it's Rasmus Järborg. You're no stranger to this company, Rasmus, but very brief. Who are you and what are you doing here?
I am the Chief Product Officer and also recently Deputy CEO.
Yes.
So I run product across our business areas, but also our digital channels and digital marketing.
Yes. So you're going to join us a couple of times today, but now it's time to talk about platform and channels. So please go ahead, Rasmus.
Yeah, this is my favorite part. So well, hold on. Before we get started, let's turn on dark mode. There, that feels much better. All kidding aside, we just shipped dark mode in the web just before Christmas. That's an early Christmas gift to our users, and they love it. And it also saves 80% of the energy for your screens, so a bit of ESG also there. So with my time here today, I will take you through our digital channel strategy, but let me start really with our key selling proposition. I think you'll hear all my colleagues here today describe really how the secret sauce for Nordnet is this combination of a leading customer experience in our channels, in both app and web, but really combined with a wide product range of bleeding edge financial products, all delivered through smooth and frictionless customer journeys. But then, it's so important that all this runs on an agile and scalable tech stack, which my colleague Elias will talk about shortly. But before we get into the channels, let's have a short look at what a typical day on the Nordnet platform looks like. So, just before the European markets open, we start seeing requests spin up against our API. And they peak at around 20,000 requests per second just before markets open. As you can see, they slow down during the day, and we see another spike when the US markets open in the afternoon at 11,000 requests per second. And on a typical day, some 265,000 users log into our app, and another 115,000 on our web. They start putting through orders. On a typical day in 2021, they put through 285,000 orders on the platform, 88,000 of which were cross-border, for a total traded value of 7.3 billion. And by the time the US closes, over 1,000 new customers have joined Nordnet. And both they and existing customers have added 230 million in net savings to the platform. We paid out 23 million loans, and some 120 million of net buys and funds have been made. Almost by any metric, I think you'll agree that's a pretty awesome platform we've built. So, how do we take this platform forward? What is the digital channel strategy? Well, I would argue that there are really three prongs to it. First of all, strategically, I call it vision-based. This is where we want to bring this platform and these channels to our customers in the future. We talk about our web next as the consolidator of key customer segment needs. We talk about our app as a standalone channel in the future to manage your savings. And we'll talk about Shareville and how that'll form the heart of the user experience. But we also work tactically or outcome-based. And this is really down to our teams to own different parts of the customer journey, where they look at different outcomes from an OKR perspective and really want to ship feature-complete functionality in both app and web, adding rich data, convenience, and delightfulness every single day, like Lars mentioned. And finally, we're very much opportunity-based, and we run unplanned innovation. This can come in the form of customer feedback, and we work very closely with our customers, both in research groups, but also through all of our social media channels, including Shareville, to garner customer feedback. We work with employee-driven hackathons. They can happen almost at any time, but we have 2 booked hackathons a year. And then we have inspiration, of course, from global and local peers, and we can steal with pride if we want to. But starting then with our web application, which we internally call Next, this platform is entirely designed and developed in-house, launched in 2019, and we're adding features almost daily. And as Elias will describe, we have the capability of shipping new features 18 times a day during trading hours. Now, we call Next our financial cockpit because it's perfectly designed for both research, both on the fundamental type and the technical analysis type. It features streaming real-time prices and order books, customizable tick quick bar, and a very rich data set of static and dynamic data. Over the last year, almost 40% of customers used only or mainly the web. And like I said, 115,000 daily active users with a DAU/MAU engagement ratio of just over 20%, which is very good for a financial platform. We see the most trades through this platform, 115,000 per day, or 43% of daily traded value. So, what's the strategy for the web going forward? Besides being a financial cockpit, like I said, we also see Next as the consolidator of very key customer segment capabilities. We have this platform that's now incorporates all the different needs that different segments may have, starting with our blog. We talk a lot about proprietary content, and we create a lot of proprietary content through all of our investment coaches and savings economists in the 4 countries. And so last year, we incorporated the blog into the web. Shareville, our social investment platform. I'll come back to this, but work is underway of integrating Shareville functionality in the web. Then we have our client manager portal for our partner customers. I'll speak about that this afternoon, But again, we're going to use Next as the platform and then overlay the distinct capabilities that our IFAs need. And finally, we have a third-party platform called Infront Web Trader for our traders that Lars Walker described, and a lot of these features we will be adding into Next for this customer segment. So switching to the app then, I'd first like to boast about the Red Dot Design Award that we just won. It's just a very prestigious international award, and couldn't be prouder of the team and the designers and the developers who made that happen. Like I said, the app was entirely designed and developed in-house, and it's seen fantastic development in both features and use since launch. Like the web, it features real-time streaming prices, 5 levels of order book, integrated instant deposits, customizable charts, haptic feedback, and today, over 60% of our customers use only or mainly the app. We currently have 265,000 daily active users with an engagement rate of 38%, which is very, very good, beating out a lot of the sort of household UK fintech names, including Hargreaves and Freetrade. All these active users put through 86,000 trades through the app, representing 25% of traded value. But what's really cool with the app is we've really seen in the data how it's smoothed out seasonal trading patterns, as you can always reach your portfolio, whether you're on a ski lift or in a sailboat. So going forward then, the app strategy is to make the app much more of a standalone channel, so that customers really can live their financial life in the app. Even so, we also see the use of the app as an extension of Next on the go. It's a perfect delivery mechanism for push notifications, price, news alerts, trade confirms, etc. And of course, the advantage of app as a medium is that native experience, the immediacy, the haptic feedback, the delightfulness in the interactions, and also it being a captive environment. I mean, there are no other tabs or windows to divert your attention, and that's why we see that higher engagement rate in the app. So finally, Shareable. Now, for those who don't know, Shareable is our very own social investment platform. So as opposed to Twitter or Reddit, Shareable truly is put your money where your mouth is. Everybody can see how you're doing, and if you own a stock that you're talking about, and how it's performed over time. So we show people other users' portfolios on a percentual basis if you've opted in. So nobody can see how much money you have, but they can see at what price you bought and sold at. And we assign between 0 and 3 stars based on risk-adjusted returns over time. Now, Shareable really is a fantastic customer acquisition and retention tool. To date, over 300,000 of our customers have shared their accounts on Shareable. And we can clearly see that customers of Nordnet that are also Shareable users generate 1.8 times the traded value and over 2 times the commissions, compared to customers who are not on Shareable. And we have very exciting plans for Shareable going forward. First of all, why do we have it? And as Lars was describing, we firmly believe that Shareable is at the heart of this mission to democratize savings and investments. It's all about inspiration, education, learning from the best. It's also user-generated content, that holy grail of the modern era, right? So we create a lot of our own content, but here our users are creating relevant and engaging content. As such, it is a fantastic attraction and engagement tool, like I showed you, but also it really is a unique selling proposition, or a USP, in the original sense of that term. There's nothing else like it in our part of the world. So why integrate it? User experience for once. Today we are diverting our users between our main app and web and the Shareable app and web. That experience is not as good as it could be. There's duplication of functionality. We have instrument pages, news, alerts, all these things in 2 places. From an SEO or search engine optimization perspective, it's also less than ideal. There's some 200,000 clicks going the wrong way currently. And then finally, it's not part of the tech strategy that Elias will describe. It's built on a different platform with a different coding language. So the future, like I've said, is really for Shareable to form the heart of the Nordnet experience. And we see that experience really based around your feed as a user. So we've done very fundamental customer research with some of our very best Shareable users and Shareable ambassadors, and done some competitor benchmarking across the world. And we're very excited about this future because we really see that the user's personalized feed, or your feed, will form the central part of the Next and app experience. And that feed will contain social news. Might be a blog about a stock you own, news about a stock you own. You'll get your transaction confirms, splits, dividends, news, what have you, and an endless scroll, really helping us to boost that engagement ratio. So that's it for the channels for now. Let me then flip to the second part of our secret sauce, the one-stop shop for savings and investments. And like Lars said, it really is our ambition to be that one-stop shop. We want users who have onboarded to find what they're looking for in terms of products on the platform. And we do want to expand the products offered in each of these categories, but also put text in more of these boxes. So within securities brokerage, it's really extending that lead that we have across the Nordics. It's about adding more trading venues, more products, and better trading experience, as my colleague Quincy will cover this afternoon. Within funds, we want to become as strong as we are in brokerage. That's also about evening out the distribution of our income, but also about appealing to that ever important saver customer group that Lars mentioned. And my colleague Gabrielle will talk about that this afternoon. Within pension, we see a step change in growth throughout the Nordic markets, especially about putting ticks in that Danish and Finnish box, and my colleague Frederick will describe that in detail. And finally, within our complementary credit products, we want to boost trading power in margin lending. We want to bring our award-winning mortgage to both Norway and to Finland, and my colleague Jacob will talk about that. And within Chervo, like I said, we want to integrate the experience into Nordnet. Now, so we have beautiful channels, and they're about to get a lot better. We have cutting-edge financial product, and they're about to get a lot better. What about those automated customer journeys? Well, all of these products need to be delivered through a number of automated customer journeys into the channels. We are a digital platform after all. And the process of onboarding and accessing the products really follows roughly 18 customer journeys divided into 3 journey families, which is also coincidentally how we organize our product and tech teams. So starting with foundation, which is everything you need to become a customer. Discover, which is where you become inspired to find what you want to invest in. And then finally execution, which is when you've identified what you want to invest in, how your order is routed and comes back with a confirm. So we're constantly, of course, working on refining and automating these customer journeys. And in this year's roadmap, we're focusing on 6 of them. They're highlighted here in white on the screen. We just shipped Move My Savings in Sweden, which is a beautiful and automated flow for moving both your stocks and your funds to Nordnet. And many other are going to come during the year. So with that, and to tell you more about the fantastic work we do with this tech stack and with our engineering teams, I'd like to welcome my colleague Elias up on stage. Elias?
Thank you, Rasmus. Thank you.
Take it away.
I will. Hi, everyone. My name is Elias Lindholm, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Nordnet. I joined Nordnet in 2019 as Head of Engineering and became CTO last fall. Before joining Nordnet, I spent some years at Avanza, almost 12 actually, working hands-on as an engineer, and I also held different leadership positions during my time at Avanza. So I'm going to cover the next 2 capabilities. The first one, which we called a data-informed organization and the personalized experience. And the common theme here is that we want to increase our leverage from all the data we have available on our platform, both about our customers and their use of our services, but also about internal processes and how they are working. And with that data, we want to really aid decision-making and improve our user experience. So, starting with decision-making, we have started to rebuild our platform for data, BI, and analytics from the ground up on Google's cloud. And our ambition is to create tools and dashboards for all departments and teams across all of Nordnet so that they will get easy access to the most relevant KPIs and measures for their operations. And with those tools, we really will help all Nordnetters make more informed decisions. Further, this also creates a solid foundation for continuous improvements of both our online offering and our internal processes. When everyone can see what's working and what's not working, then everyone can start suggesting improvements and also take actions to improve, and we can all see the effects from those actions and iterate until we reach the desired impact. And this will, if we can make small and large continuous improvements across all of Nordnet, then it will be just a matter of time until we will have this truly amazing platform for savings and investments. The other area where we want to increase our leverage from our data is when it comes to personalizing our customer experience. Think what Spotify does, for instance, with a service like Discover Weekly, which is a highly personalized service with suggested music tailored to each individual user's personal music taste. Other examples of highly personalized services are the Facebook news feeds or the YouTube video recommendations. We want to bring that kind of experience and applications to the Nordnet platform and start personalizing our user experience. For instance, we want to inspire our customers with investment opportunities based on their individual savings and interests. And we also want to make sure that everything that relates to the Shareville experience is highly relevant and personalized to each individual Shareville user. Once again, the important initiative here is our migration to Google's cloud and the platform for data that we are creating there. That will allow us to personalize larger and larger parts of our online offering. Moving on, the next capability we call the cloud-powered platform. And before I get into the specific initiative here, I want to start by giving you some high-level objectives in our tech strategy. Starting with security, I guess we have all seen the increased amount of media coverage about larger and larger companies becoming victims of different kinds of cyber attacks. And of course, as we continue to grow, we will become a more compelling target for attacks. And therefore, a key objective for us is to continuously pick up effective security measures so that our customers' information and assets are well protected on our platform. A second objective in our tech strategy is scalability. We have basically doubled our customer base over the last years, and our ambition is to double it again over the next years. That requires us to be able to quickly scale up new production capacity as we see more and more users on our platform. That in turn requires that we continuously remove bottlenecks in our platform and make sure that all parts of it scales well. The third objective in our tech strategy we call data agility, and this ties directly into what we talked about on the previous slide about decision making and personalization. We have tons of data on our platform. The challenge is that that data is scattered around in a lot of different systems and data sources. So what we really want to do here is improve our ability to bring all that data into one place, which allows us to both do decision making on all that data and also to build data intense application on a cross section of that data. For instance, like personalizing our customer experience. And the final big objective in our tech strategy is speed. We need to continuously innovate around all parts of our online offering. The experience in all our channels, the products we offer, and of course the internal processes who powers this online offering. And that in turn requires us to have the ability to quickly deliver new software. And that in turn requires us to continuously invest in replacing old and outdated technologies with new one that is fit for purpose and allows us to run with high speed, low risk, and good quality. So there are of course a lot of actions we have taken over the last years and will continue to take in order to improve security, scalability, data agility, and speed. But I would say the one that will have by far the biggest impact is our migration to Google's cloud. In 2019, we entered into a strategic partnership with Google with a long-term ambition to move our entire online platform to Google's cloud. And in 2020 and in 2021, we have onboarded our engineers on this platform and trained them, and we have also made a lot of adaptations to both our old platform and our new one to allow larger and larger parts of our online offering to be hosted on Google's cloud. And last year, 35% of all development at Nordnet was on this new platform, and now we are ready to really turn this into our primary platform for development. And with that comes a lot of benefits, and I want to stress 3 of the big benefits of this new platform. First of all, we have a lot of managed services on this platform. Services that are just there and that our development team can start experimenting with immediately and quickly take out to production when they want to. Further, Google takes care of the ongoing maintenance and continuous renewal of those services, which allows us to focus on core business development. And even better, some of those services are very advanced and we would never be able to create similar capabilities on our own premises. The second big benefit of this platform is security. Nordnet X on Google's cloud applies what is called zero trust, which is a step increase in security compared to what we have on our old platform. And even better, Google has announced that they are going to invest $10 billion over the next 5 years just into strengthening security for the benefit of Nordnet and all our customers. And finally, a final big benefit of this platform is scalability. A platform like Google's cloud basically offers global scale. We can spin up new production capacity in the matter of minutes or hours compared to the weeks and months it takes us to order new hardware and install it in our own data centers. And with that, we also open up for entirely new ways of working. For instance, if one of our dev teams want to run load or capacity tests, they can quickly spin up a production-like environment, run the necessary load test against this, and then tear it down, and we just need to pay for the short period of time that we use that environment. Doing something similar on our old platform is just not feasible. All in all, what this allows us to do is to focus on core business development. And on this platform, we are going to be able to create new products and services that we would never been able to create on our old platform. And that will really help us accelerate our pace of innovation going forward. Talking about accelerating pace of innovation, the other big contributor to that, of course, is the scale-up of our development department. Last year, we signed 51 new engineers, and we plan to have, by the end of this year, 37 development teams, which is basically twice the amount of development teams that we had just 2 years ago. And we see our development teams as our unit of delivery. One more development team typically means that we can run one more big initiatives in parallel. And with this scale up in development capacity, we should be able to deliver twice the amount of big business initiatives over a year compared to just 2 years ago. And not only are we growing fast in our engineering department, we are doing so without sacrificing efficiency. Thanks to a lot of automation of recurring engineering tasks, sunsetting and decommissioning of old software, the cloud migration that we have already talked about, and also continuous refinements and adjustment in our team structures to make sure that our development teams are as independent as possible, we see improvements almost regardless how we measure engineering productivity and efficiency. For instance, last year we made more than 7,000 production releases, which I just say is amazing considering the size of our engineering department. And another number I want to stress is our release lead time. That has dropped to 29 minutes. The release lead time is the time it takes from a dev team from when they are done developing a new feature for our customers and until that is available for our customers in our production environment. We do that on average in 25 minutes. There are companies who claim to be agile who do this in days and even weeks, and I know that some of the big banks, when they work on their old platforms, it can take months and even quarters for them to get changes out to productions. So this is really a core advantage for us and sort of a competitive advantage, at least when we compare to the big banks. And I want to end with this slide to just mention our platform's availability. I'm super happy that we managed to increase our availability last year from 99.8 to 99.9%. And although this might not sound like a big increase at first glance, it is actually a 2x improvement when you look at the downtime, which has dropped from almost 500 minutes in 2020 down to just less than 200 minutes last year. And what makes me even more proud about this achievement is the fact that we have done this during a year of record activity. Almost no matter how we measure it, if we can look at the activity on our web, on our app, or trade activity, we saw records everywhere last year. So I think what this really shows us is that all the actions that we have taken over the last years to improve our platform's stability has really led to the desired results. And that was it for me. I guess I hand it over to you, Johan.
Thank you, Elias. And as for the others, we'll save the questions for later, so stay close to the stage. We have already had a lot of questions already, but just remember that you can just push the Q button on the screen and shoot your questions, and we'll pick them up soon. So time now to talk about people, sustainability and compliance. And Lars-Åke, please join me again on the stage. The Nordnet people, please enlighten us about that.
Thank you, Johan. As I said in the beginning, we are really proud of our passionate and talented people. And we also have a very clear people agenda to drive employee satisfaction forward. And it starts that we have this clear purpose, democratizing savings and investment, but also very clear values ingrained in the organization. I'm going to talk about those later. And we also have this very clear strategic direction in Nordnet 2025. But even more important, we've shown that we can deliver together as a team and really create fantastic results. We also spend a lot of focus on leadership, where we have all the leaders participating in several days leadership training last year. Diversity is also a core component, both when it comes to different nationalities, but also gender, of course. And here we have English as a company language. I think that's an advantage for us to attract also other nationalities to the company. Then, of course, the work model now is going to be very important to have a very flexible work model, a mix between working from home and at the office, and to get that mix right. And then overall, to secure that we really have a strong employer brand so we can attract also top talent from the outside. And we want to, of course, see a continued improvement on employee satisfaction, as you see then at the bottom. And our values, they are equally strong as our purpose, and starting with passion. And we are very passionate, as you've already heard, about our customers and not least the customer experience. We're also very passionate about our employees. Then it's simplicity, that we have easy to use products, but also easy to understand communication. And then lastly, transparency, that we tell things how they are, both internally and externally. So not a lot of fine print. We also believe in having a really efficient operating model with clear responsibilities. We have one product and tech organization supporting all countries. And you see the tech part there in this picture is the yellow part. And then we have the product side with the business areas, securities brokerage, mutual funds, credits, and pension. And also the business areas, they have front to back responsibility, including the operations units. And this allows, of course, to optimize the P&L dimension, the process dimension, and not least the risk dimension. But this is a core component also to make Nordnet also efficient going forward. And then at the top, we have the countries that basically take the products out. It's marketing, sales, and customer service, around 30 to 50 people per country. And we also have one Nordic marketing function to secure that we have one brand and one look and feel, and that Nordnet is perceived equally in all of the local markets. And then, of course, the staff functions and not least the control functions, where we have a very strong risk and compliance function. So with that, Johan, I hand over to you.
Thank you, sir. Time to look at what we're doing when it comes to sustainability, and that is actually a topic that I will cover myself. So besides hosting this presentation, I'm also heading up our communications and sustainability team. And on the top right on this slide, you see our sustainability manager, Maria Karlsson, new at Nordnet since November. And on this slide, you also see our sustainability strategy. So we have 3 overall focus areas when it comes to sustainability, and each of these 3 areas have 3 more specific initiatives that belong to them. And we have also connected our goals to the UN SDGs, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The first area in the core is democratize savings and investments. You heard about this before today. That is also the purpose on a higher level with Nordnet. We started out in the 90s as a reaction to that investing in stocks was reserved for a chosen few. We wanted to change that, and that is the purpose that we carry with us until this day. We like to say it is as we are challenging traditional structures and give private savers access to the same information, tools and services as the professionals. We have multiple proof of that in our history, taking stock trading online, building a fund supermarket, increasing flexibility in taking down cost in pension savings, low-cost mortgage, and our stock lending programs, to name a couple of examples. We are also very visible in the public debate around savings, always standing on the saver's side. For instance, last year we took the fight against implementing negative changes when it comes to how much you can save on the ISK, the investment savings account. That is the most popular account type in Sweden. We took the fight against the government, and it was turned out to be a pretty successful one because there are no suggestions now on the table to limit the ISK. We are also right now in the public debate arguing for implementing a central hub for pension savings, a digital portal where all citizens in Sweden can see their occupational pension accounts from various previous employers, and also the possibility to transfer between different companies. We'll see how that goes. And our purpose also, of course, says something about our ambition when it comes to products, develop user-friendly and inspirational service for savings and investments. I will come back to that when it comes to the educational and inspirational part in a moment. And our ambition when it comes to sustainable savings is to become the leader in the Nordic region. Also that I will come back to in a minute. Next focus area is equality and diversity. We stand up for and work for a better equality between men and women when it comes to savings and investments. We try to promote that with different activities. Likewise, we also have that perspective internally and want a workplace that is characterized by gender equality and diversity. We also would like to promote a positive development for the generation of tomorrow in the digital direction. So we work with, for instance, teaching young people how to code, arranging education sessions and kid hackathons. And the third focus area is responsible and sustainable business. And the first concrete goal there says practice transparency, compliance and high ethical standard. And just shortly about transparency, that is something of a key value in Nordnet. We always try to be open and honest against each other in the company, and of course towards media, authorities, and you as investors and analysts as well, of course. We think that that is the key to build trust for us as an organization. We also want to promote physical and mental health through a good working environment, and the transparency and honesty is, of course, one component in that. And also, we want to reduce negative impact on the environment and climate. That is, of course, our own footprint, but we have also recently engaged in an external activity as well. I'll come back to that. Our own footprint, by the way, has been reduced for many years. We have a digital business model, and we emit very little carbon dioxide. So, when it comes to increase the general knowledge about personal finances, we do a lot. Sorry about that. Yes. We have, when it comes to focus on education and inspiration, we do a lot. We have the Nordnet Stock School, for instance, in the 4 countries. We're something of a content factory. We produce a lot of content in our own channels, the blog, the podcast, and the videos. We have, when it comes to products, the guidance flow, for instance, the monthly savings from 0 to hero in 6 easy steps. Shareville, Rasmus covered that, and we also have the golden rules when it comes to investing. And when it comes to sustainable savings, we like to say it as we want to become the leader in sustainable savings, and that doesn't mean we don't exclude anything. With that we mean instead having the most investment alternatives when it comes to sustainable savings and the tools and information that the customers need to invest sustainably if they would like to do that. In last year, we became the first fund platform in the Nordics region to include information about the EU categories, Article 8 and Article 9. And earlier in the year, we changed the underlying indexes for our 4 international index funds to their sustainability adapted equivalent, which means that our own international index funds are in line now with Article 8. And we have other sustainability features as well that you can see on the screen here. And the last slide I want to show you here is an initiative we launched on Wednesday this week. It is called the Return Initiatives, and we do that together with our largest owner, Öhman. This is an initiative in order to reduce the negative impact on the climate and our environment. In short, we donate 0.10 SEK per trade on Nordnet's platform during 2022 to organizations that work with trying to solve some of the challenges we have in the area of environment and climate. And then we let our customers vote for how we should distribute the money between the 3 organizations that we have chosen per country. And that was that, I think. And before we open up for questions, Lars-Åke will take over again. And this time I think the topic is compliance, right?
Yes, to end with compliance before Q&A. But this is very, very important for us as a savings platform. We are in a trust business. We need to earn that trust every day, and we know we can easily lose the trust if we have a major incidents. And strong compliance and risk management is the vital part, the key part of G in the governance in ESG. And key for us to manage this is the trust is to manage our risks in a good way. And of course, the board and executive management, we are overall responsible for the risks, but underneath we have what we call 3 lines of defense. Where the first line is the operating units, and they own the risks. They also own the management of the risks to secure that we handle all the risks in a good way. Then we have the second line, that's risk and compliance, and they control that the first line do what they should, and they're very active in that. But they also support first line when they need help. And then we have the third line, and that's internal audit, and they report directly to the board, and the main purpose to overall secure that we have the right system set up both for governance and internal control. But we work very actively with this, and not least we work very actively with the risk management in the operating units at Nordnet. So that was the last on the strategy session, Johan.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. And now it's time for questions. So I ask Rasmus and Elias to join Lars-Åke on the stage. And you can ask your questions to anyone here, of course, on the stage. And like I said before, just press the little Q button on your screen and fire away. So we have already received a lot of questions. Start with a couple of them that regards our financial targets. They come from Andreas Håkansson at Danske Bank. When you give your revenue margin target of 45 basis points, you say it's driven by adjusted revenues. What is that adjusted for and what is included? Lars-Åke, can you take that one, please?
Yeah, we had one adjustment that was in 2019 when we sold our tincture. Otherwise, we haven't had any adjustments, and it's not likely we will have any. But if there is, we of course notify what it is.
Okay, good. And then a couple of questions from both Danske Bank and from Carnegie about the interest rates in the coming years. What are your assumptions in terms of interest rates in your revenue margin target? Can you comment on that, Lars-Åke?
Yeah, so we have some increases in there in the modeling we do now, but let's see how the world moves now. It might be higher increases, and that's of course then a potential upside.
Okay, good. Do you have any guidance on return on equity? Lars-Åke again.
No specific guidance, but we report on it as a KPI in the quarterly reporting.
Yep.
So you can follow it there. But for us, I think with the dividend policy and the other targets, I think that's a good set for us.
Yeah. Okay, again from Carnegie, Ermin Keric. Which countries have most potential to add customers and in which customer categories? Countries, categories, most potential. Rasmus, will you take that one?
Well, I'm going to take it in the sense I say, stay tuned, Ermin. We're going to do a deep dive into the markets shortly,
Okay.
so you're going to get the answers to that and more.
All right. Lars-Åke, you showed the financial targets on one slide. There's a question, have we removed the explicit number 1 customer satisfaction target, or is that still your ambition? Lars-Åke.
No, it's clearly, as you saw also in the strategy part, that's the key strategic, one of the key strategic ambitions. It's not a financial target as seen. I mean, that's why we separate the financial targets and the strategic targets.
Yes, perfect. So I shoot the question to Elias now. You talked about the cloud a lot. What is left to move to the cloud? Can you give an overview of that?
Yeah, I mean, when we have done our cloud migration, we are prioritizing from the perspective that we want to be able to do as much new business development as possible on this platform. And we have a goal that by the end of, during 2023, at least 90% of all development at Nordnet should be on our new platform. That being said, there are of course a lot of systems on our platforms that need to be migrated. So even after 2023, there will be remaining parts. But I mean, the key for us is to be able to do business development on the new platform to large extent, and that's what we are optimizing for.
Okay, good. Here's a pretty detailed question, I think, to you, Lars-Åke. How is slide 9 in your presentation different compared to IPO pre-pandemic? And that slide was about customers by different segments. So how has that developed over time?
It hasn't changed that much, but as I said, we want to strengthen the investor segment, where we're already very strong, but then continue to grow in the saver segment, which is the biggest segment across Nordics, but not in revenue, but in numbers. And I think we have a great potential overall in the saver segment, not the least from the big focus we have on the fund business, because the fund business is key to unlock savers. They invest basically only in funds.
And we will publish these slides as a PDF on the corporate website after this event. So if you want to, you can download the prospectus and do a side-by-side comparison on that table. It'll be there for you.
Transparency, right?
Yeah, all about transparency.
Question to you, Rasmus, now about product. Why haven't you launched pension in Finland, number one? And secondly, do you have all the pension accounts you want to offer in Sweden, Norway and Denmark, or are there any other plans?
Well, good question. We are going to do a deep dive on pension this afternoon, and my colleague Fredrik, the CEO of the pension group within Nordnet, will cover that. But just to give you a small preview, Finland has a different occupational pension market structure. It's all about defined benefit. There's a lot of sort of centrally negotiated pensions. So we're not interested in that. We are interested in bringing an insurance wrapper, so an endowment wrapper to Finland, and Fredrik will cover that. We do not have all the pension account types we want to have. We want to launch primarily a livrente product in Denmark, which is a huge market opportunity. And again, Fredrik will do actually a case study on livrente this afternoon.
Great. And Patrick at ABG also had the same questions about pension, the timeline. He also asks about the timeline when it comes to mortgage. Can we say something about that in other countries than Sweden? Lars-Åke, Rasmus?
For sure. I mean, we have a fantastic mortgage. It's still the lowest price mortgage in Sweden at 0.65%. My colleague Jacob will cover that this afternoon again. We are underway, I can say, in developing a mortgage for the Norwegian market. So that work is ongoing. And we also want to bring this mortgage to Finland, and that'll be after the Norwegian mortgage is launched. So stay tuned, and Jacob will give you more details this afternoon.
Great. And then cross-tech product question. When can Shareville be integrated? Does it all have to be redone as on a different tech stack? That sounds like you, Elias.
I can start and then Rasmus can take over. I know that Rasmus is super excited about everything that relates to Shareville. And as he said during his presentation, Shareville has been run on an entirely different platform as the rest of the Nordnet online platform. And what we have invested in over the last, I would say, 1.5 years is to move parts of Shareville to our new platform on GCP, which enables us to integrate it to a much larger extent than what we have done in the past with our web and app. And I guess, Rasmus, maybe you want to cover what it is from a customer perspective that we want to do.
Sure. So I talked about it a little bit in my remarks earlier, but I think building on what Elias says, once we have a lot of the base services on GCP and that work, a lot of that ground laying work has been done, we will start to see features show up, Shareville or social features on Next. And actually 20% are out now, or 20% users have access to Shareville comments being served off of the GCP solution on the instrument pages. So if you're one of the lucky 20%, you'll see that we're going to ramp that up as we see the data come in. So work is ongoing, and you will see a lot of cool features shipped during 2023.
Great. It's a lot of great questions, and the questions just keep coming in. So fire away, guys. Press the Q button. I think this one is to you, Rasmus, as well. Any risk with personalizing your experience too much, becoming too much of an advisor? I mean, the line between guidance and advice, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question, and we are very cognizant of that line. And I think in everything we do, we want to stay on the guidance side. So we'll tiptoe up to the line between guidance and advice, and we'll take a firm step back. And we do that together with our compliance function. And that's true in a lot of features and flows we've shipped, including our guidance flow to set up monthly savings. And the same will be true, of course, of personalization. And we should say we're very respectful of the customer's integrity. It's all about opting in if you want to have this social experience. It's all about opting in if you want to let us use your data in order to come up with personalized information like Elias was describing. And so we definitely want to stay on the side of being an open platform, letting the users decide, but we want to make those choices available to them. And we think that's where's the line between a fantastic user experience and it being personalized marketing? It is a continuum, and we always need to make sure we're on the right side of that continuum.
Thank you, Rasmus. And the cloud seems to generate a lot of interest from our viewers that you were talking about, Elias. Is it possible to quantify the cost saving in percentage or in absolute terms from developing a new product in the cloud-based environment compared to before you migrated to it? And you can take the mortgage as in Norway, for instance, as an example. And Lars-Åke, you can fill in if you want to.
I can start. Yeah, I can start by giving my view. I mean, what the cloud really gives us is a lot of new capabilities that we need that will be much more expensive to create on our own premises. For instance, when it comes to personalizing, which we have recently talked about, our customer experience, but also to have this capability both to make sure that our customers' asset and information are secure. I know that my predecessor said that he couldn't understand how companies dare to try to secure their own data centers anymore. I mean, security in the future is in the cloud, and that's one big reason why we have decided to make this move. And also scalability, building that kind of platform which scales as well as a cloud platform is basically, we can't do it. So that's where I come from when we discuss this, and maybe Lars-Åke want to fill in on the cost side.
No, I think it was a good answer. I mean, with scale, we can use tools that's already in Google Cloud instead of developing them ourselves. But then I think a core component is this automation we're doing in general. I mean, it started on the on-prem, now it's moving to the cloud. But looking at the customer journey for mortgage, for example, we've done this extensive work in Sweden, and we can take that automated process when we build a Norwegian mortgage and just change a few things and you're up and running. So this automation work is highly important also for scalability, also when it comes to product development.
Good. And Elias, are there risks with working with Google, relying so much on Google? There's a question here that mentions something called vendor lock-in. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yes.
But comment a little bit on the risk with working with
Yes,
Google.
and of course, there's always a balance. I mean, there's a risk of vendor lock-in, which is basically that we will become very dependent on Google, and sort of it will be hard for us to negotiate the pricing and so for the services that they provide us. But I mean, with all technologies that we procure, there's always lock-in, and it is too expensive to try to make everything you do vendor neutral. So it isn't something that I'm super concerned about, and I mean, a lot of the things that we use on this platform is follow standards that is also available on other cloud platforms. So if we would like to transition to maybe Amazon's cloud platform in the future, it is possible, but of course requires us to do a migration initiative.
Okay, good. Thanks a lot. Lars-Åke, you touched upon the people and the recruitment need we have. How many engineers, to both of you, Elias and Lars-Åke, how many engineers do you estimate we need to recruit in the upcoming years? And how large share of the cost increase that we have communicated today will be related to the recruitment needs we have in tech?
I mean, we recruit around 50 per year. That we did last year. We will do that this year. But about half of that is replacement of people leaving, and half of it is increase in staff. And as I said, when I talked about the cost target, cost growth of 5% per year, around 5% per year, it's small part is inflation, but the larger part is product and tech resources. Not only tech, because we set up this fund company and pension companies, etc. So it's some product resources as well.
And exactly on the same topic, how do you view salary inflation for engineers and the war for talent?
Yeah.
Who wants to take that?
I can start. I think, I mean, I didn't mention that, but I mean, we signed 51 engineers last year, and I'm super impressed by the talent acquisition team at Nordnet. They do an amazing job, and it's not just that we have signed 51 engineers. We have signed the 51 engineers with all the right attitudes, mindset, competence, and passion to really fit into our culture. And I think that shows that we have a strong brand, and we are able to attract new talent in a tough market.
Anything you want to add there, Lars-Åke?
Yeah, but of course, if inflation spins out of control and salary increases spins out of control, I think that's an issue for everyone in the market. But we don't see that now. But hopefully, Sweden and the Nordics can contain inflation in a good way.
Good. Rasmus, compared to competitors both in the Nordics, Europe, and US, would you say that your platform is more or less advanced? And do you see your cloud platform as a competitive advantage when competing for talent? Okay, so it's a two-fold question. I'll start with you, Rasmus. Are we more or less advanced than the rest of the world?
For sure, we're more advanced. For sure. But I don't care about advanced as such. I care about the user experience. So we want that delightfulness. We want that fantastic flow. We want people to be engaged in our channels, and for sure we have that. And I think we stand up there with the very, very best in the world, not just in financial platforms, I would say, but in a lot of consumer applications and consumer platforms. Of course, we have some very strong competitors, both here locally and some that we are inspired and looking across the US and the UK, but I think we can hold our own with any of those, and both on a product and UX perspective, but also on a tech perspective, which I guess is the next part of the question.
Yeah. So next part is: do you see your cloud